This lesson is on bar graphs. A bar graph uses bars to symbolize the amount of something. The longer the bar, the higher the amount is of what's being measured. Bar graphs can be vertical, which is up and down, or horizontal, which is across. Let's take a look at a bar graph. This bar graph is titled Favorite Fast Foods. When we're looking at this graph, we need to take in all the information. So first, let's look on the bottom and see what kind of information we can find. It says there are fries, hot dogs, hamburgers, and shakes. On the side that goes up and down on the left are the number of students that chose these items. So let's see if we can answer our question. What is the least favorite fast food? Well, let's find out how we add up the numbers on a bar graph. When you look at the fries, you go all the way up to 10. This bar stops at 10, so we know that 10 students chose fries. When we look at hot dogs, we go all the way up to where the bar stops. It stops at 4, so we know 4 students chose hot dogs. Hamburgers stops at 8, so we know that 8 students chose hamburgers. And shakes stops at 2, so we know that 2 students chose shakes. Well, the least favorite fast food has to be shakes since it's 2, and 2 is the smallest number. Let's look at this same graph and ask a different question. How many students liked fries and hot dogs? Well, let's count fries again. Fries went all the way up to 10, so 10 students. Hot dogs went to 4. Now, when we hear the key words, how many students liked fries and hot dogs, the key word is how many students. We know we're going to add them. So 10 plus 4 is 14. 14 students liked fries and hot dogs. Let's look at this graph again and ask one more question. How many more students liked hamburgers than hot dogs? And our key word here is how many more. That means we're going to subtract. So let's find out how many liked hamburgers. Let's go up to where the bar stops. It stops at 8. 8 students liked hamburgers. Hot dogs, we know, stopped at 4. And we're going to subtract because we're finding out how many more. So 8 minus 4 is 4. 4 more students liked hamburgers than hot dogs. Let's look at a totally different graph. This is popcorn sales. We have John, Becky, Andrew, and Jenna selling popcorn. And at the bottom are the numbers of bags of popcorn they sold. So we see that John sold 4, Becky sold 7, Andrew sold 2, and Jenna sold 5. Now the question says, how many bags of popcorn did John, Jenna, and Andrew sell? Well, we said that John sold 4, we said that Jenna sold 5, and we said that Andrew sold 2. So to find out how many bags of popcorn they sold, we need to add these numbers together. Let's start with the biggest number, which is 5, and count up 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Add 2 more is 11. So these 3 children sold 11 bags of popcorn. Let's look at the same graph again, different question. How many more bags of popcorn were sold by Becky than John? Well, Becky sold 7. And John sold 4. How many more means subtract? So 7 minus 4 is 3. Becky sold 3 more bags than John. Okay, last question we're going to do with the same graph. Who sold the most popcorn? Well, John sold 4. Becky sold 7. Andrew sold 2, and Jenna sold 5. Becky sold the most. She sold 7, so Becky would be the correct answer. She sold the most popcorn. Let's look at one more type of bar graph. This one is titled Favorite Sports. And our question says, how many children liked tennis and basketball? Well, tennis was 2, and basketball was 3. So we simply add these numbers together to find our answer. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 children like tennis and basketball. Let's look at the same graph with a different question. Which is the most favorite sport? Well, football was 6, basketball was 3, tennis was 2, and baseball was 9. 9 is the largest number, so baseball wins. Baseball was the most favorite sport. Let's look at one last question with bar graphs. This question asks, how many more students like football than tennis? When we see how many more, we know we're going to subtract. So let's see. Football was 6, and only 2 children liked tennis. So we subtract 6 minus 2, and we get 4. 4 more students liked football than tennis. That concludes our lesson on bar graphs.